Take a look at this half-finished building. It's located north of Seattle. Sam Altman personally invested $375 million to be a part of it. Altman, you'll recall, is the CEO of OpenAI, the company that created ChatGPT, which jump-started the AI boom. Even in the midst of closing billion-dollar deals with his partners, Altman was doing something very strange with his own investments. And it starts with this $375 million investment nowhere near OpenAI headquarters. Now keep in mind, this isn't a new tech startup or an AI data center. On the surface, this has nothing to do with technology at all, but there's more than meets the eye going on here. As Altman said at this year's World Economic Forum, when it comes to the next generation of tech investing, there's no way to get there without a breakthrough. We need this. That's why he's all in on the investment, even though it's currently under construction. Meanwhile, Microsoft founder Bill Gates just dropped more than $1 billion just outside a small coal town in southwest Wyoming. No company is there now. In fact, it only just broke ground in June, but Gates' investment is expected to have a long-lasting impact, up to 60 years at least. Yet, at first glance, this investment seems to have zero to do with technology. And look what Mark Zuckerberg's doing. His company, Meta, just signed a landmark agreement involving the building of a brand new facility. The location is yet to be determined. All we know right now is it will be located somewhere east of the Rockies. No, Meta isn't moving its headquarters. Zuckerberg's investment has little to do with technology, at least to the layman. Amazon's Jeff Bezos and other investors recently inked a $130 million deal with a small British Columbia-based company. But this isn't a cloud computing startup or a microchip company or anything like that. In fact, their operations have almost nothing to do with technology. So, what's going on here? On the surface, the companies involved have nothing to do with technology. They operate far from Silicon Valley. Yet, these strange investments could be the early ripples of a massive wave. Without them, ChatGPT could stop operating, and big tech companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and more could see profits drop drastically. In fact, Elon Musk says these investments are critical when it comes to solving the number one problem facing AI. And those who know why these tech CEOs are putting their money in these strange places could benefit right now, before this becomes common knowledge. You see, these curious investments could be the source of the greatest investment opportunity this decade. I've spent the last couple of years following this story, and I think I've uncovered exactly what's going on here. The real reason these tech giants are pouring heaps of money into these strange investments. To put it simply, America is running out of power. Vast sections of the United States and the world are facing an impending energy crisis. Utilities just can't keep up. They're grasping for credible plans to expand the nation's creaking power grid. That includes places like Chicago, which is expected to see a 900% jump in power demand, and Georgia, where the latest projection for new electricity use is now 17 times what it was only a little while ago. Arizona's largest public utility company has even warned that its capacity could soon be completely wiped out. Why? Well, it's all thanks to AI, which continues to grow exponentially. This massive growth has one crucial drawback, however. AI is draining power. In fact, it's exhausting grids all over the world. And at current growth rates, some new AI servers could soon devour as much as 134 terawatt hours of electricity every single year. Now, that's more than what countries like Argentina, Belgium, or even the Netherlands use in a year. And my research shows that it's only going to get worse because AI is just beginning. In fact, when it comes to power, here's a scary thought. Arit Sengupta, founder and CEO of AI solutions company Aiable, recently said that AI adoption is still in its infancy. We're talking just 1% of where AI could be in the next 2 to 3 years. That means, despite its swift emergence, we're still in the preliminary stages. By 2030, as much as a quarter of all United States electricity could be consumed by AI. Right now, there is no good solution to this fast approaching crisis. More electricity production and transmission alone won't solve this. So, what's causing the skyrocketing growth in AI power usage? It has to do with data centers. They're located all over the world. That includes close to 5,400 of them just in the United States alone. Look, data centers aren't new. They've actually been around for decades, as far back as the 1940s, in fact. But here's the thing. With AI recently exploding onto the scene, these existing data centers have been exposed. They're basically obsolete. They just can't keep up. New, far bigger data centers are desperately needed. Not next month, not tomorrow, right now, today. I'm talking about AI data centers that are 6 times more powerful than anything out there today. They are the ones that provide the vast storage capacity that's desperately needed to manage the massive volumes of data that AI generates. Without data, or more accurately, without the ability to process the data, there is no AI, period. That's because at its core, AI is simply the processing of huge volumes of data at warp speed. This is why Forbes and many others regard data as the new gold. Now, here's an idea of just how much data I'm talking about. The early version of ChatGPT, which set the world on fire when it was released near the end of 2022. Well, it was developed using 175 billion data points. That's the equivalent of 1 million feet of bookshelf space. It's about the distance you travel driving from Baltimore to New York, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Each day, more than 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created. Yes, that is a real number. In fact, if we could gather up all of the data in the entire world and take a close look at it, we'd discover something truly mind-blowing. We'd see that more than 90% of all that data was generated just in the last 2 years alone. It's true, and it continues to grow. AI-generated data is expected to increase another 50% in just the next few months. And with data production increasing exponentially at such a rapid pace, massive new AI data centers are needed immediately. It's a challenge that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said big tech is going to have to spend more than $1 trillion in the next few years to meet. Right now, there are only about 500 of these new and improved AI data centers in the United States. But more are rapidly on the way. They're scattered all over the country, including places like Council Bluffs, Iowa, across the border from Nebraska. That's where Google has committed over $5 billion to a next-gen data center occupying more than 2.5 million square feet. This is no secret. Big tech giants are involved. That includes Amazon, which has committed to invest more than $100 billion into data centers alone. And get this, Microsoft and OpenAI are currently working on plans for one data center behemoth, codenamed Stargate. That alone could cost as much as $100 billion. Look, we're just at the start of an explosive expansion of data center production. More and more are desperately needed to keep pace with AI's exponential growth. Big tech has gone all in. And the market for these super-powered data centers is not just expected to grow fast, it's expected to literally erupt, with growth estimated at 2,000% in the coming years. In fact, almost 3,000 new data centers are expected by the year 2030. The whirlwind growth of artificial intelligence is expected to drive continued demand into the next decade and beyond. But here's the thing. The rapid development of these data centers costing hundreds of billions of dollars, that's something everybody knows. The media regularly highlights and celebrates these monstrous deals. But there's more to this than meets the eye. On average, just one new AI data center currently requires the same amount of electricity needed to power 750,000 homes. That's more than the population of cities like Seattle, Detroit, and Denver. And that's just one AI data center. That's because they're large, energy-intensive operations that often run 24/7, and nearly 3,000 more of them are on the way in the near future. No wonder Tirias Research forecasts that even before then, by 2028, data center power consumption will be 212 times what it was in 2023. Eric Woodell, a data center operations expert, put it bluntly. The truth of the matter is data centers are pigs when it comes to energy use, and now they're the size of elephants. And this boom in AI data center manufacturing is going to push America's power grid to the brink, with potentially catastrophic repercussions. It could bring AI screeching to a halt, and it could even destroy the profits of big tech's mightiest companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, Google, and even Apple, let alone affect regular people as utility bills skyrocket, even as they face planned blackouts to conserve energy and prolong outages because of creaky infrastructure. As Siemens Energy CEO Christian Bruch recently told shareholders, no power, no AI. And Elon Musk has said that AI could run out of electricity by 2025. This is why Altman, Bezos, Gates, and Zuckerberg are making these strange investments I told you about earlier. The world's power supply is disappearing fast. These big tech moguls are scouring the country and the rest of the globe, trying to find or create more, much, much more. Those investments in Washington, Wyoming, and east of the Rockies, they aren't data centers and they're not shiny new chip factories either. No, what's getting built here is far, far more important. You see, Altman's Washington State startup is currently working on the world's first nuclear fusion power plant. And Gates's Wyoming undertaking, that involves the world's first natrium plant. That's an advanced nuclear reactor that uses sodium-based technology to cool the reactor instead of water. Zuckerberg's latest venture set to open somewhere east of the Rockies, that landmark agreement Meta recently signed, it involves the use of next-generation geothermal power. It's simple. Data centers need power, lots of it. And all of these investments are meant to provide just that. Because with current power supplies rapidly evaporating each of these investments, Altman's nuclear fusion, Gates's natrium power plant, Zuckerberg's geothermal operation, and dozens more like them around the world could provide the power necessary eventually. But there's one major problem with each of these enormous expenditures. None of them will be ready for years. That's right, Zuckerberg's geothermal venture is not due until 2027 or even later. Altman's Washington State undertaking might be ready to go by 2028. But that's considered an ambitious deadline. And Gates's natrium power plant is not expected to be operational until 2030 at the earliest. These revolutionary AI energy investments aren't expected to pan out for many years, maybe not even until the next decade. These solutions are 3, 4, even 6 years away right now, at least. That means that as vital as these investments could eventually become, they won't do anything to solve the energy crisis today. And that's just not good enough. Big tech is scrambling. Utility companies across the nation are freaking out. People all over may soon find electricity becoming a diminishingly available necessity. And while all that sounds quite scary, this crisis may just reveal one of the greatest investment ideas we are ever going to find.